You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
This is the Daniel Monday Night Community Show on demand through YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing to listen to us through this method. If you'd like to keep up to date with when I add new interviews, then subscribe to this channel. So we're now here at the Monday Night Community Show on BRFM. I'm going to be talking to Sarah on the phone. We're going to be talking to her all about developing a visitor economy strategy for Swale and how you might be able to help and get involved. Firstly, thank you very much for joining us. If you could introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself to start us off.
Yes, well, thank you very much for inviting me to talk to you. My name's Sarah Loftus, and I work in tourism, have always worked in tourism. I work on a freelance basis, often working with destinations, organisations on developing tourism, and Swale Borough Council have commissioned me to develop a strategy for the visitor economy in the borough, and I'm working with my colleague James Turner of Black Spiral Design, who has also, like me, done some work in the area before. He has worked with the Isle of Sheppey, while I've previously done quite a lot of work in the Downs area and all around Faversham. In a previous role, when I was the tourism officer for the Kent Downs area of outstanding natural beauty.
I was hoping you could tell us a bit more about that sort of commissioning and its strategy and why.
Yes, well, Swale Borough Council does recognise the importance of tourism to the borough. For example, the figures for 2015 show that Swale received 5 million visitors who contributed 193 million to the economy, and over 4,500 jobs were created within the visitor economy. So it is recognised as very important to the borough. They have been looking at developing a strategy for some time, and now they are able to do this. And so James and I have been commissioned to do this over the next few months with a view to preparing the strategy by September, when it will then go through the usual council processes before final adoption. It's going to provide a strategic overview of tourism and support the growth of Swale's visitor economy, and it's going to be a 3-year strategy. It's going to provide a vision for the borough, but really highlighting the distinctiveness of its component parts, if you like, its special areas. People don't come to visit Swale, they come to visit the Isle of Sheppey, Sittingbourne, Faversham, and the surrounding countryside, the Downs and the marshes. And the strategy is really going to be all about supporting and enabling local industry champions. All of the activity that's going on very much at a sort of grassroots level, if you like. And also we're looking to identify opportunities for collaboration and partnership working.
So what do you need?
We need more than anything to talk to people. The strategy really does require that it's going to be based on input from the local tourism industry. And so we just need to talk to people. And June, July is our consultation period, where we've already started this with an online survey, which I'm hoping a lot of your listeners will have heard about. And I wanted to ask you if you would make the link to the survey available on your website following this discussion. That would be great.
We certainly can.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. We're also hosting a number of focus group discussions, and we've held our first one in Faversham. That was last week, and then we've got one coming up in Sittingbourne on the 12th of July, and one on the Isle of Sheppey, which is going to be held at the Bluetown Heritage Centre on the 18th of July. And we really want people who are involved in the visitor economy in one way or another to talk to us, complete the survey, if they can attend a focus group discussion, or to talk to me on a one-to-one basis. I'd be very happy to talk to you over the phone. Sometimes people feel a bit more comfortable talking to me privately about the issues that they think they're facing with regards to the visitor economy. But really, we're wanting to talk to people at the sharp end, people who are involved in the visitor economy. So that's accommodation. It can be B&Bs and self-catering, holiday parks, hotels. In the food sector, so restaurants, pubs, cafes, tea rooms, venues, events. There's lots of festivals and markets that's taking place all over, and they draw a lot of people into the borough. Visitor attractions, of course, and something that we have so much of in abundance right across the borough is our wonderful heritage, our industrial heritage, our maritime heritage. And there are a lot of fantastic people out there who are involved in looking after this heritage, and we would love to talk to them too. And also on the retail side, specialist shops, for example, destination shops. We're drawing people in from quite a wide area, really, bringing them into the borough. So, we'd just love to talk to them all and hear their views. We want to know what they think is great about that area, the issues that they're facing, what they think can be done to better support the visitor economy and make it work for Sheppey and for Sittingbourne. All of these different places within the borough are all very different, and they all have very different needs. So that's why we're holding focus group discussions in each area rather than bringing everyone together and to attend large-scale workshops. We didn't feel that would work. We thought it needed a more focused approach on the different parts of the borough.
So it's one of those cases, if you don't let people know, then you can't really find out what the issues or the problems or what people would like, and that's what you're trying to do is do that through these sessions.
Yes, absolutely, and also, as I say, I'll talk on a one-to-one basis, and if there are meetings taking place, and people wanted me to come and talk to them at these meetings, I'd be happy to do that. And we don't have a tremendous amount of time. We've got until the end of July to do this. But so there's still plenty of opportunity to talk to us about this. The challenge for me is reaching everybody. So that's why I really appreciate this opportunity. So hopefully it will help spread the word. Especially on the island, actually, where, for example, with the survey that we're running, we've had a good response in Faversham, but we haven't heard yet from so many people on the Isle of Sheppey, and actually even fewer in Sittingbourne. We really do need to get your views.
Was there anything else you'd like to cover or get over to our listeners that we've not yet covered?
Actually, there is one thing I'd like to clarify. I mean, people often wonder what we mean when we're talking about the visitor economy. And really, we're talking about tourism, but in its broadest context. So it's not just your sort of obvious attractions, accommodation and restaurants and what have you, but we're also thinking about heritage, the business sector. We've realised that Sittingbourne is important for business travel. We think business travellers account for a big proportion of the visitor economy, in Sittingbourne. There's lots of businesses there whose contractors and clients are visiting their offices. And of course, when they come here, they need to eat somewhere. They need to stay somewhere, and we feel that that's probably not being captured at all on the business side. There's also the creative sector. There's lots of really interesting things happening in Sittingbourne on Sheppey to do with the arts. And again, that is drawing people into the borough. So we'd like to talk to them. There's health and well-being. There's another sort of sector which is very much part of the visitor economy. And then the events that I mentioned earlier, festivals and markets, and what have you. Anything and everything that's drawing in visitors to the area for whatever purpose, for whatever reason they're coming here. People, when we talk about tourism, people often think that we're just talking about people going on a short break or a holiday, but it's far wider than that. It's anybody visiting for whatever reason at all.
So I know you want to talk a bit more about the natural environment.
Yes, this is so important to the Isle of Sheppey in particular. It's such an important part of your offer, if you like, to the visitor. You have two national nature reserves on the island, which are just such a fantastic resource. I did my own little sort of recce, incognito, recently of the Isle of Sheppey, and I haven't visited for many years. I am a resident of Kent. I live in Deal, so not too far away, but it's been quite some time since I've last visited the island. And we drove through Bluetown, and then we went through Sheerness and Laysdown and Minster, and then suddenly the countryside was opening up before us, and it was absolutely stunning and such a draw to the visitor. And I think it's just really important that we also talk to people that are working in terms of looking after your natural environment. We've got the Elmley National Nature Reserve, and then of course the Swale National Nature Reserve, and the RSPB are involved there as well. But really the people that are looking after your landscape, be very keen to hear from as well, because it's really something quite special that you've got there on the island.
And of course volunteering as well. I know you wanted to cover that aspect of it.
Yes, I know that I think this really applies in both Sheppey and Sittingbourne, but many of your built heritage sites are looked after by volunteers, and that really is understood. The importance of the volunteer sector in Swale is really understood and recognised, and these places wouldn't be able to continue operating if it weren't for the volunteers who would put so much of their time and effort into looking after them and maintaining them. And so again, we would like to talk to them. The heritage that you have there on the island is just fantastic, and we'd like to know more about it and plans for the future and what you need, the sort of support that's needed as well.
So if people would like to find out more, is there a website or contact details that they can do that?
Well, yes, if they'd like to find out more, please get in touch with me. That's Sarah Loftus, and my email address is very simple. It's Sarah with an H at sarahloftus.com.
Well, I'd like to thank you very much for taking the time out to talk to us here at BRFM Bridge Radio on the Monday Night Community Show.
Lovely, thank you very much.